Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fridays with Steve. Thanks for joining us again today, whether it's on Friday or after the fact. We're going to wrap up our month of CSP talk with a session on managed services. We'll talk some about CSP itself and some of the management and some of the support that Apex provides, and it's part of that why Apex kind of story when it comes to CSP. But then I'm really excited to have Courtney Talbot join us. She's our VP over service delivery and really the expert in the space around Empower and our managed service offerings, because those really take CSP to the next level. And so we are excited to have customers join us and bring their CSPs over or start new cloud partnerships with Microsoft. But at the end of the day, there's more we can do together, right? I've talked a lot about our professional services. We've talked about room systems, which include product and some of our great partners. But we want to talk about the managed services linkage between CSP and Apex services. So we'll do that today. There's support and there's expertise when it comes to the CSP relationship, but there's more unlocked with Empower. And one of the ways that we talk about this is, return on your cloud investment. I talked some this month about assessments and getting licensing right. Sometimes we even we talk customers out of spend, which in the short term, might seem counterintuitive, but in the long run, it's the right thing to do for the customer, and we do that all the time. I think there's the same story that we can tell around Empower, that in the long run, whether it's hours saved, problems averted, all of that has a great return on investment and something that can be super valuable to customers. And so you've seen this before. We talked about just the basic benefits of a CSP with Apex, right? Streamlining the experience. We deal with customers all the time that are coming from a place where there's multiple contracts, multiple people purchasing, kind of licensing all over the place, and allowing us to help you streamline that really is a huge advantage. That expert support and management to help you ensure that the right people have the right capabilities in the cloud. Not over licensing, not under licensing, but getting it just right. Courtney's got a team of experts that can help. One of the things that working with an organization like Apex does is it changes the nature of support, right? It goes from a single person, or what happens if Sue's out of the office this week, to you've got a team here at Apex that can help you with questions and with issues as they come up. And because we work with so many customers, this is kind of the Microsoft story in the cloud too, right? We work with so many customers that we see stuff all the time, right? We see a problem in one tenant, we can help all the rest of our customers avoid it, right? Or we've seen these things before. We deal with them at scale versus you and your implementation being sort of a single instance. Microsoft always talks about it from like a security standpoint or a spam or email filtering standpoint, that, hey, when we see 10,000 emails hit 10,000 different tenants at the same time, it's pretty easy to identify it, as UCE. But if you're a single tenant and you get one message, it's a little bit harder, right? You're sort of in isolation. You're sort of on an island. And so with Apex and with your CSP, you get that advantage of us seeing it across our environment, across all of our customers, and really being able to bring that perspective to you, in your individual tenant. And so today we want to talk about combining CSP with Empower to just up the support, up the knowledge, up the ROI that you get from this investment, right? Lots of guidance and support, really getting into more the advisory and supporting the IT staff kind of space, not just on licensing questions, but broader about cloud as well. really just a ton of expertise across the team. Um, uh, we're able to make an investment that is, multiple people supporting all of our great customers, and you reap the benefits of that because you're getting all of that knowledge through a single entry point, right? You're getting the benefit of all those years of experience, right? We say this in our consulting business as well, is that, what you're getting is, the 10, the 15, the 20 years that people have spent, learning and seeing problems, and you're getting all of that encapsulated in one contract, in one point of contact with us. And it flows naturally with CSP, because the licensing, and because that relationship with Microsoft is a manifestation of your investment in the cloud. Having as much expertise, as much support as possible, avoiding problems, that's one that's a little bit harder to sort of put a number on, but problem avoidance is a huge benefit, right? And it's a little bit harder, right? It's harder to quantify the things that don't happen, but know that that is a huge part of the investment equation. And so what we want to do today is spend a little bit of time with Courtney. She is our Vice President of Service Delivery, and sort of the guru of all things Empower. So Courtney, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I put up this slide that sort of compares the two offerings. And just as a first question, we support lots of CSP customers. We have lots of Empower customers. What are some of the key, maybe one or two key things that you see as the differentiators when people move to Empower? What are some of those, top line benefits? I've listed a bunch out, but what are the one or two that just resonate from day one?
Yeah, for me, it's that you had mentioned it. It's the return on investment, right? We're going to come in and we're going to do, a transformational assessment and really a Microsoft 365 best practice assessment. So we're going to look at everything that you have in your environment, and we're going to go and make sure, see what products that you are utilizing, what you're licensed for. A lot of times we find that they have the licensing for certain features, but they don't have them turned on. So we're going to make sure that you understand, what the possibility is and what that looks like. And then from there, we work with the client to come up with an adoption and success plan, right? So understanding where they want to go within the business and how we can help them get there. So I'd say that to me on that return of investment, that's huge, right? Because a lot of times you're lighting things up, and maybe you don't need that licensing for across the board for all your end users. Maybe it's just a few here. So we're looking into that and really returning what that looks like to you and how we can help you get that return on investment.
Yeah, so that's been one of the topics that's sort of been lurking in the background all month as I talked about CSP, right? I talk about over licensing or under licensing and things like that. But it's not over licensing if you adopt those technologies you're buying, right?
Absolutely.
And so you hit on it. I mean, I think one of the key things is those adoption services. And so, when it comes to those, do you have a couple of thoughts about, success stories or do you start with security? Do you start with some of the management stuff? Like when you talk adoption with customers, where do you go first?
I think security is number one, right? It's on the forefront of everybody's mind, making sure their environments are secure, making sure that they have what they need turned on. And so, when we're doing that best practice assessment, that's the first thing we do is make sure that, they have the things turned on that is going to keep them secure, and understanding what that looks like to do so.
So Microsoft makes a lot of changes, and sometimes they're very vocal about them, and sometimes they're more subtle. So I know one of the things that your team does is try and help customers navigate the change that is just kind of constantly coming with Microsoft. And that sort of fits in our advisory services. So what does that feel like? I mean, do we reach out to customers and talk about upcoming changes and things like that? How does that feel from a customer perspective?
Yeah, so it actually comes in two different formats. So we have these monthly technical reviews that we schedule with the customer on a monthly cadence, where we go in and we let them know of all the things that are in the pipeline from Microsoft. Especially because we've done the assessment, we know what's in their environment. And so we're gearing those conversations towards them, as well as I think legacy auth and the new modern auth, knowing that that's coming in the pipeline, we're working with them. What needs to happen? What needs to be put in place to make sure that they're ready for these changes that Microsoft is calling out? And then we do have the advisory built into some of our levels of Empower that allows them to, hey, quick questions like, I want to know, what is the best practice around this? We want to go and implement this, but how should we do that? Those really quick, just questions, we'll be happy to provide an answer, hop on a quick call, talk it through them. So they get it once through the technical meetings and then also through those advisory requests.
So this sounds, if I was an IT manager, in a medium-sized company, this sounds like the kind of service. Empower feels like the kind of offering that would just be helping me be successful, right? And I think that's really our key audience with it is, hey, let us help you and look good with the CIO or whoever you happen to report to. I mean, do you find that after the service is introduced, after the assessments are done, is that some of the feedback you get that it's like, hey, this is helping me, tell my story?
Absolutely. For sure. And sitting in those meetings, one, I learn a lot. But just being able to hear the conversation of things that they didn't know was changing, or, things that are coming out, or, because they may have found something that they can use. It's not out yet, but, it helps them with their roadmap and their business. That they can then present to their managers and stuff of things and changes that are happening that are going to help them with things that they're trying to do right now. So as we go through those roadmaps and those discussions, and it is pretty open, we definitely want to make sure that they're aware of everything coming on, but it's a lot of things that they can bring to the table too, of questions that they have on just different things that they've read or things that they're experiencing within their environment. So those monthly touch points are fantastic.
So you talk about roadmap, and that's a fantastic part of the offering. I mean, selfishly, we talk about things they can do, but I'm sure we're more than willing to help and provide professional services that can help in those spaces, right?
Absolutely. And with some of our Empower offerings, we offer these deployment planning and assistance days. So we would be happy to go out there and be the boots on the streets and do some of the configuration work, because we know everybody's busy, right? Everybody's running a million miles and, running very fast. And so some of the time, we will be happy to help you implement some of the stuff that we discuss during those meetings.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about those DPA days, because I know my team has had great success positioning them, because it's sort of like projects or sort of like mini projects without some of the transactional overhead, right? We don't really sell banks of hours, and
Right.
that's a tough business to be in. But DPA days kind of fills the need between big giant project and hey, go do it yourself. I would assume we have a lot of success with quick hitter projects and just fixing the nagging things for a lot of our customers.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of things, like if it's a go through, wanting to set up some conditional access policies, things around that nature. Yeah, DLP, there's just different types of things that normally we definitely do as a full project, but having them available, and because they're baked into your agreement, those hours are available from day one, right? So if you have the agreement and you want to go ahead, first month, second month, even though you've got 8 hours that last the whole course of the contract, you can go and use them at any point in time. You don't have to accrue them as you go. They are available from day one.
Yeah, and I hope I'm not ratting out any of our great customers, but I think some of our customers actually use that as a way to sort of kind of sneak in project spend and have it amortized over 12 months versus having to go to the boss with, I need 5K here, I need 5K here. You spread it out over 12 months and then you bring those projects under the umbrella. I think we've had success kind of positioning that, haven't we?
Absolutely. I might age myself, but I say it's kind of like layaway, right? You have it, you're paying for it over the course of the month, but you actually get to enjoy it on month one or month two. So it is a great way to sneak in those projects and understand what that spend is, right? You don't have to go out and you already have this bank of time available, and you don't have to go out and then get quotes or, oh yeah, like you said, feel like you're constantly going back to the well, asking for additional funds to go and get things implemented.
And then, we're talking about Empower and CSP, kind of a managed service for IT. But at the end of the day, we have some customers that actually come to you and your team for fully managed work, right? So maybe
Yes.
just a quick plug for, the more traditional MSP business.
Yeah, so we also have our fully managed, where we are the IT support, right? We work with all the end users from their Microsoft 365 issues, server, infrastructure, network, things around that nature. 24/7, monitoring and support available to the end users. So that is another service that we do provide.
And so, we have that full spectrum, and I think that's one of the great things about Empower plus CSP is it manifests everything we know through that single point of contact, right? You're tapping our entire organizational knowledge, and maybe just a few closing thoughts. CSP is great. Yeah, I know you manage CSP customers as well and offer some support, but there's a place where that stops, and it has to graduate to Empower. So maybe just a couple of closing thoughts about what that graduation looks like, right? Hey, we really need to up your support arrangement with us because you're pushing the envelope.
Yeah, with the CSP, we'll provide first level support, licensing questions as you ask, initial things. We do have a full team that can answer those questions. But if it gets something beyond where we end up having to go to Microsoft on some of those. We still do that with the other clients' requests too, but it gives us a little bit more time to be able to actually dig in and research the issues, right? And solve those problems that in a normal CSP model that we are handing off to Microsoft.
Yeah, I think that's one of the one of the challenges we have when my team sells kind of that naked CSP, right? Which is, hey, there's a point where we'll open a support ticket with Microsoft for you, but that's where it ends. And I hate selling to customers or I hate using the stick, right? I hate using the we can't do that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, that's the value of Empower is
Yeah.
We'll take it and run with it completely.
Absolutely. It's hard too. It's hard from our support team, because they obviously want to help and they want to fix things. And so they also feel kind of awkward in those types of situations where it's like, we have to make sure that there is the line there. Another thing I just wanted to touch on, Steve, is you had mentioned it too, when you have your traditional IT support, or when you have your dedicated people, and we have a whole team here, right? We have several, level one all the way up to our solution architects. And when we say we bring the team, we bring the team. So, we have different supports. If it was, you guys wanted to talk a little bit about Power Platform or different things like that, definitely have partners and team members that can assist in those areas.
Yeah, so access to that entire world of knowledge and partnerships through sort of a single portal, right? A single question into our Empower service, and you get the power of all those people.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey, Courtney, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, running around the office and making sure, we're delivering on all cylinders. I understand you're hiring too, right? Not only do we bring the team, we
Right.
need to grow the team.
We are growing. Yes. Yes. Project managers, solution architects, support engineers. I mean, across all fronts, we are definitely looking for good people.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks again. I really appreciate you taking the time and talking to us about Empower.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. So that's Courtney Talbot. She's our vice president over service delivery, and really just key to making sure that we're delivering these services fully and richly. And she's not lying. Her team is so great that they want to make sure our customers are satisfied, and that's why when we have conversations with customers, we're always trying to couple CSP and our Empower for Microsoft 365. I sort of feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I don't at least position that and try to win you over, simply because there is a point. You can see the check marks on the left side, they stop. And Courtney's team is great, and they really love helping customers. But there is a point with a CSP contract where we hand you off to Microsoft, and we all know how that can potentially go. She mentioned bringing the team. We've been around a long time, hundreds of customers, hundreds of projects, tons of institutional knowledge that, in the case of Empower 365 and our managed service offerings, you're getting through a single contract, a single point of contact, 24/7 at times, based on the level, and having access to everything we do. It wouldn't be Fridays with Steve if I didn't close with a couple of asks. Reach out. If you're a current customer but not on Empower, love to talk to you about all the value, or just reach out to sales or me directly, sthompson@apexdigital.com. We'd love to have a conversation with you about how we can help your organization. Courtney said it as well. I love thinking about positioning this as making you successful, the IT manager, the IT director. I want you on the President's Club trip because your business is firing on all cylinders. That's one of the ways we gauge success. And frankly, it's one of the ways Courtney and I get paid is satisfaction around our customers. Another just call out for our signature rooms and all of our teams' rooms. It's what we lead with in a lot of our project spaces, in a lot of our professional services. It's a great entry point, whether it's a full-fledged signature room, Jupiter displays and 21:9 aspect ratios, down to a huddle space like you see there. We're really the experts when it comes to hybrid meetings and sort of the evolution of meeting spaces. We've got great partnerships in those spaces as well. It's been a little fun for us getting with furniture partners and things like that. But we have that entire portfolio to bring to bear. So visit our website, apexdigital.com/CSP, to learn more about our CSP offerings. Nobody should be buying direct from Microsoft. If nothing else, the value add of the knowledge of Courtney's team when it comes to moving your CSP to a partner, hopefully a partner like Apex, is a no-brainer, right? And so we'd love to talk to you and make sure that you're getting everything out of your agreements with Microsoft. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time on Fridays with Steve.